I turned 95 last month, and in that quiet, ordinary moment, a shocking truth hit me harder than I ever expected. Nobody really told me what it would be like to grow this old. All my life, I believed aging would be simple, even graceful, that somehow the years would bring ease, comfort, and peace. But the reality, it's far more complicated, far more intense, and far more honest than anyone ever prepares you for. I spent decades thinking life would get easier as the wrinkles appeared, as the hair thinned, as the energy faded. I thought wisdom alone would shield me from struggle. But at 95, I finally realized that aging is not a gentle journey. It's a series of truths that confront you, sometimes brutally, sometimes quietly, but always inevitably. What I'm about to share are 7 eye-opening truths of life at 95 for women. These are not lessons packaged in polite cliches or pretty sayings. They are the real, raw truths that society avoids, the ones that make you rethink everything you thought you knew about growing old, love, family, and yourself. Some of these truths will hurt, some will surprise you, and one will stay with you long after you hear it, haunting your mind and reshaping the way you see life itself. Chapter 1. Your body is not your friend anymore. At 92, I had a shocking realization. My body was no longer on my side. One ordinary morning, I tried to lift my grocery bag, the same bag I had carried for decades without a second thought, and pain shot through my shoulders and back. I froze, stunned. My body, which had once been my most loyal companion, betrayed me when I least expected it. It was a harsh wake-up call. Aging isn't just about gray hair or wrinkles. It's about losing the physical strength you once took for granted. For years, I had ignored the little signs, the stiffness in my knees, the twinge in my back, the shortness of breath after climbing a single flight of stairs. I smiled and nodded when friends asked how I was, but inside, the aches were real. Even when people see you looking fine, the struggle is often invisible, quietly growing stronger every day. The lesson is simple, yet crucial. Your body demands respect and care every single day without shortcuts. Ignoring it only makes the journey harder. At my age, I've learned that small, consistent habits make the biggest difference. Simple stretches each morning, gentle walks around the block, light exercises to keep muscles active. These tiny actions can preserve independence and keep life from becoming a constant struggle. I won't pretend it's easy. Some days are painful, frustrating, and slow, but embracing your body's limits while caring for it patiently is the secret to living longer with dignity. At 95, I understand now. Your body may no longer be your friend, but it can still be your ally if you treat it with respect and love. Chapter 2. Loneliness cuts deeper than you think. By the time I turned 90, I faced a truth I had tried to ignore. Loneliness can cut deeper than any physical pain. Most of my friends had passed, the familiar laughter and chatter of shared memories replaced by silence. Family visits became rare, letters fewer, and the world I once knew seemed smaller, quieter, and emptier. The silence wasn't just absence, it was deafening. I felt it in my bones, in the moments when no one called, no one knocked on my door, and the day stretched endlessly. It taught me something profound. Emotional health matters as much as physical health. Our hearts and minds need nourishment just as much as our bodies do. Without connections, even the brightest days can feel gray. Loneliness can find you anywhere, even in a room full of people. You can smile, make polite conversation, and still feel invisible, as if a shadow of isolation quietly follows you everywhere. The lesson I learned is urgent. Cultivate connections while you can. Don't wait for someone else to reach out. I started small, writing letters to old friends, calling those I hadn't spoken to in years, even making new acquaintances at the local community center. These small gestures didn't just pass the time, they kept my soul alive. Loneliness doesn't have to be the final chapter. By reaching out, by opening your heart to others, you can rebuild a sense of belonging. At 95, I realized that love, laughter, and companionship are not just comforts, they are necessities. Even in the quietest, loneliest moments, a little effort to connect can make life feel full again. Chapter 3: Pride and Independence Can Backfire. For most of my life, I prided myself on being independent. I could cook, clean, manage my home, and take care of myself without anyone's help. Even in my late 80s, I refused offers of assistance, thinking that asking for help was a sign of weakness. I wanted to prove to myself and everyone else that I was still capable. But at 92, reality delivered a harsh lesson. I fell while reaching for a heavy pan in the kitchen and broke my hip. Suddenly, that independence I had cherished became my greatest obstacle. I was forced to rely on others for the most basic tasks, from bathing to dressing, and the pride I clung to felt almost laughable in hindsight. Even queens, I realized, sometimes need a little hand. The lesson is clear. Learning to accept help doesn't make you weak, it preserves your life. Pride can be admirable in youth, but in old age, it can backfire, shortening your story and complicating your days. Sometimes, clinging to independence becomes a dangerous habit, one that isolates you from love, support, and safety. Yet there's a twist. Accepting help can also be liberating. It creates space to focus on what truly matters: your health, your happiness, and the moments of joy that pride alone can never provide. So while I still enjoy my independence whenever I can, I no longer see asking for help as a defeat. At 95, I know that strength isn't measured by what you do alone, but by the wisdom to accept a hand when you need it. Pride may feel good, but survival, comfort, and peace, those come from knowing when to let go. Chapter 4: Memory fades, but lessons stay. At 95, I have to admit something I never thought I would. My memory isn't what it used to be. I forget names, faces, even dates that once seemed so important. Sometimes I walk into a room and forget why I'm there. Other times I struggle to recall the details of conversations from just yesterday. It's frustrating and at times deeply unsettling. But here's the part that surprises most people. Even as my memory falters, some moments remain crystal clear. I can't remember the exact words my daughter said to me as a child, but I will never forget the first time she held my hand. I can't recall the brand of the first car I drove, yet I vividly remember the joy of feeling the wind in my hair on that summer day. These emotional memories, the ones tied to love, connection, and meaning, endure far longer than any trivial fact or date. The lesson is simple but profound. Emotional memories matter more than trivia. As our minds begin to fail, the heart remembers what truly counts. Your mind may falter, but your heart never forgets love, kindness, or the warmth of a genuine connection. So, I've learned to focus less on remembering every detail and more on cherishing the moments that imprint on my soul. Celebrate the hugs, the laughter, the shared stories. Those are the memories that survive the years. At 95, I realized that life isn't about keeping track of every appointment or fact. It's about collecting moments that stay with you long after everything else fades. Cherish the experiences that matter. They will outlast the fleeting details and define the life you've truly lived. Chapter 5. Time reveals the truth about people. At 94, I faced a truth that no one prepares you for. Time has a way of revealing the real character of the people around you. I had always believed that friends and family would stand by me, that loyalty and love were constants, but life taught me otherwise. When I needed help the most, recovering from a minor fall and struggling with daily tasks, I saw who truly cared. Some friends, the ones I had relied on for decades, quietly disappeared. Others, the ones I barely noticed, showed up without fanfare, helping in ways that words could never express. The lesson was painfully clear. Life will show you who matters, and it will often do so when you least expect it. Some betrayals sting even more because they come late in life, after years of trust and belief. It's tempting to dwell on those who let you down, but I've learned that your energy is too precious to waste on people who choose to walk away. Instead, invest your love, attention, and care in those who choose you, not those you chase. At 95, I prioritize my time and heart carefully. I surround myself with people who are consistent, kind, and present, and I let go of those who drain or disappoint me. It's a harsh truth, but also a liberating one. Time does not just take, it reveals, and if you pay attention, it will guide you toward the people who deserve your trust and affection. The late lessons can be bitter, but they also teach clarity, peace, and the wisdom to focus on what truly matters before it's too late. Chapter 6. Regret is a heavy burden. At 93, I sat alone in my living room, reflecting on a lifetime that had passed far too quickly. I realized something that shook me to my core. For decades, I had spent more time chasing approval than seeking joy. I molded myself to fit expectations, pleasing family, friends, and society, instead of listening to what truly made me happy. And in that quiet moment, I asked myself the hardest question of all: was it worth it? The answer, of course, was painfully clear. Regret is a heavy burden, one that doesn't just linger quietly. It can overshadow your final decades, draining the beauty from the years you still have left. I had learned that no amount of recognition or validation could replace the simple, honest happiness I had neglected. Regret doesn't undo mistakes, but it makes their memory sharper and more painful. The lesson is clear. Live without regrets. Choose joy over approval. Choose experiences that make your heart full rather than people who simply want to check boxes. Every small choice you make now shapes the life you still have left. Even at 95, there's room to adjust, to embrace what matters, and to let go of what doesn't. I've come to understand that regret is not just an emotion, it's a warning. It tells you that the path you've chosen may not align with your true self. And while you cannot rewrite the past, you can change today. Focus on what makes you happy, cherish the people who lift you, and invest your energy in what nourishes your soul. Life is too short for regrets, and at 95, I've learned that happiness is the only legacy worth leaving. Chapter 7: The Secret Joys You Discover Late. At 95, I discovered something I had overlooked for most of my life. Happiness isn't hidden in grand achievements, wealth, or recognition. It's in the small, quiet moments that often go unnoticed. I found joy in gardening, feeling the soil crumble between my fingers, and watching tiny sprouts grow into life. I found joy in reading, losing myself in stories that carried me to worlds I could never visit in person. I found joy in sharing my experiences and stories with strangers, seeing their eyes light up with understanding or laughter. These were simple pleasures I had ignored, thinking happiness belonged elsewhere. The lesson is profound. Joy isn't in fame, power, or accolades. It's in tiny, everyday moments. It's in the warmth of sunlight on your face, in a kind word from a neighbor, in the soft rhythm of a book's pages turning. Life may slow down as the years pass, but it never stops offering happiness if you're willing to notice it. There's a surprise in old age that few expect. Beauty can be found in silence, and laughter can bloom even in solitude. I learned to sit with myself without fear or frustration, finding contentment in moments that used to feel ordinary. At 95, I can finally say I understand the secret of a long, meaningful life. It's not about what you've accumulated or accomplished. It's about recognizing and savoring the small joys that surround you every day. Life gives these gifts generously, but only to those who pause, notice, and embrace them. The secret joys I have discovered late remind me that even at the end of a long life, happiness is always possible and often closer than you think. Looking back on my 95 years, I realized that these 7 truths are not easy to hear. They hurt, they challenge, and at times they can be uncomfortable, but they also teach resilience, clarity, and gratitude. Each lesson, from understanding the limits of our bodies, to facing loneliness, to letting go of pride, to embracing joy in small moments, has shaped the way I see life, love, and myself. If you are younger, hear this now. Don't wait. Act before it's too late. Nurture your body with care, strengthen your mind with curiosity, and guard your heart with awareness. Invest your time in people who matter, in experiences that uplift you, and in moments that leave an imprint on your soul. The years will pass whether you are ready or not, but the wisdom you gain along the way can make those years meaningful. Life at 95 is raw, honest, and unforgiving, yet it can also be peaceful, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. The hardships teach patience, the solitude teaches reflection, the love that remains teaches gratitude. At 95, I don't fear the years behind me. I don't regret the ones I could not control. Instead, I embrace the wisdom they left me, the lessons, the love, and the clarity. If you take even a fraction of these truths to heart, you too can live a life that is not only long, but rich with meaning, presence, and quiet joy.